All right, so let's start. Welcome to the Falco Community call. I guess most of you already know me. I usually attend in the meetings, but I have introduced myself a while ago. My name is Vicente. And well, remember Falco is a CNCF project. So according to its code of conduct, please be kind with each other. And a friendly reminder, this call is being recorded. So if you don't want to show your face, please turn your camera off. So now we have the agenda. There's only one topic, that's me. And what I wanted to bring on the table was some changes I'm thinking for the website. And well, I would like to have some feedback from you guys. One of them was, I think it's missing information for the Falco plugins. I've seen there is a lot of documentation, great documentation, but we are not telling the world that, hey, Falco is supporting now Falco plugins. And well, I thought of a diagram, including some input. It's going to be, my idea is similar to what Thomas used for its Octa plugin post 2 weeks ago or so. And well, something like we want to show the features of Falco. Another thing I saw was missing was documentation for Falco Sidekick. There was a question today on the Falco channel, and one was asking, how do I do that? Okay, of course we have the GitHub repo, but well, if you agree, I think it would be a good idea to add that kind of documentation as well. And finally, if you click on that link, I created a small form. You don't have to share your email, your name, just to gather some information of how you use the website, how you like it. I plan to share that on the Falco Slack channel. And of course, some free form to, I just realized it's in Spanish. Well, my Google account is in Spanish. So yeah, the idea would be to ask the community what they want to change, whether they want to change. Maybe they love the website as it is. So I will leave the link there and share it on the channel, as I said. Any comments, any suggestions, any ideas? Thomas?
There are several aspects about documentation. For plugins, Markstem already created some PRs to add basic information about how to use plugins directly in the website. And for Sidekick, there are also two aspects of that. First, the question we had today was more about how to deploy Sidekick, but Falco also. So it was more concerned about the M chart than the usage of Sidekick directly. I think we should provide more details about how to deploy Falco and Falco Sidekick in the website and extract those details from the README of the plugin of the chart. I agree with that. But for Sidekick, the question is more global. I was thinking about creating like a read the doc documentation, because like you know, we have more than 40 outputs for Sidekick right now, and the only documentation, the whole documentation is just the README. So we have 1,000 of lines. It's a nightmare to update, a nightmare to follow for people. So I wanted to refactor totally Sidekick and the way we manage outputs, to have a folder by output with documentation. With documentation is the README inside the folder, and with all this stuff we could create a /docs automatically with all documentation, 1 page per output, etc. This is a long-term topic I want to do. We need to refactor the whole organization of the repository for that. And maybe after that, we could import this documentation in the main website, but I think it will create a really, really big number of pages, which is not really relevant for people.
Mhm. So my first idea was to create a new section for Falco Sidekick documentation, kind of a integrations section.
We can at least have these pages with links to the correct repositories. It will help for
because
referencing in Google.
what I saw is if someone wants to learn something from Falco Sidekick within the Falco website project, the blogs are the only means, or they go to the external GitHub repo, which is, yeah, great project documentation, but something more like user-friendly, maybe. So great input. Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else wants to?
Yeah, maybe me. Hi, Vicente. Hi.
Hi, Zolt.
A couple months ago, we created a plugin. We haven't used it much, so maybe we've got like, I don't know, 40, 50 users for Falco. That basically makes all the findings as triggers for certain movements, which means like, I don't know, somebody opens up a new shell or whatever, Falco detects it, and we created an actual sidecar to it, which is using our operator, so it's a bit more complex. But so if something is dodgy, we are basically reshuffling the whole cluster. So I don't know, killing some pods, bringing new ones back out of an immutable state, relabeling the whole stuff. So I kind of, how should I say, mixing or messing around with the hackers, basically. And the question is, we created also a nice, not just README file, it's there actually, but like walkthrough videos and stuff like that. And the question is, should we, I don't know, we have it on our website. It's not live yet because, we might need some, I don't know, approval from you guys or somebody from here. But that could be.
Thomas has some experience already with plugins, with the registry. So Thomas, you created a couple of plugins already, right? The Docker one and the Okta one.
Yeah.
So maybe you can guide Zolt a bit better on how to integrate that.
We just want to create plugins or create and register them?
No, we created and we actually committed a few months ago. So it's there. It's part of the, I think, the evolution repo.
Yeah. Yeah. It
but
works
again,
with this. Yeah, it works with.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just was thinking. If I remember correctly, those plugins are not exactly the same ways to work than Okta or Dockers or CloudTrail. They were different.
No, that's why it's not just a plugin. I think we talked with Leonardo and Pop back in those days. So that's why it's not just a plugin, but it's more like an evolution for Falco. But again, we haven't promoted it yet, so just I don't know. So didn't really tell the community because we've been kind of a sidetrack to it, other stuff. So we are a commercial company, so actually we need to make money first. And
if I recall correctly, Zolt,
hi, Jason.
that contribution fell into the category of third-party integration inside the evolution. So that's already contributed, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think if you go to the contributor MD file or adopters, actually, yeah, adopters MD, we're there. But yeah, so the question is, what should we do with this, and who should we talk if we want to kind of push it to more customers? I don't know, tweet about it to our users or our network. That's one thing. The other thing is, you might be able to use our, because like our README, or let's say documentation, was created by like professionals, marketing professionals, blah blah blah. So that could be useful for the plugins as well.
So personal opinion about this, I think since that integration is about the commercial product, it's not strictly the responsibility of the community to take care of advertising it. So
yeah, no, it's not so we are not using the commercial part at all. But this was like a contribution to the Falco community.
Well, definitely, I'm silly suggestion, maybe tweeting about it will be good already, and definitely everything that flies around Falco is good to hear for both the community and the company usually. So I can't say that you can raise help from maybe community members, but yeah, I mean, that's a good contribution. Everybody is thankful for that. So
yeah, okay. I mean,
this is something that can appear in the documentation about third parties integration for sure. Maybe some, I don't, to be honest, I never tried your operator sidecar for Falco, so I don't get exactly what it does for now, but I will take a look for sure right after.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a super simple version of what we are doing commercially, so that's why we just open sourced it, and ours is not really the actual operator, but more like the sidecar. But I mean, whatever. So what I wanted to say is we have walkthrough videos, we have some marketing material, blah blah blah, which we might be able to use for the. I mean, you might be able to use for the plugins as well. So like that structure, that videos, and so on.
And Phoenix operator is for reaction, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But whatever. So it was just an idea.
Sure. I just want to understand how to interpolate things all together to have clear stuff to present to everybody.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, just to tell you, like a bit higher level. So like, whenever Falco finds something, it's not just like you get I don't know, like a Slack message or whatever, but you can get actual mitigation, fully automated mitigation. Sysdig is doing something like this. I mean, Sysdig Secure, I checked the 3 point whatever last time, is doing something like this, but not as sophisticated as our operator. And Loris didn't want to put this into the Falco yet. And that's why we don't use the operator per se, but just this small sidecar. If it makes sense. And this sidecar basically does like when you find something that dodgy pod is getting killed and getting revamped from an immutable state, and it does it on a temporal base as well, like every 3 hours, every 5 hours, whatever.
And the communication between the operator at Falco must be in gRPC.
Sorry, must be in
gRPC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because basically, maybe my opinion has a bias, but communication between Falco and something else, the operator or the rest of the world, should be, from my point of view, in Psychic.
Yeah.
Because it's purpose, but the communication is not in gRPC right now between Falco and Psychic.
Yeah, but I'm guessing we did this before Sidekick was even published. Sidekick is 2 months, 3 months old, right?
Sidekick is 5 years old. Almost.
Okay, then no.
I think you are talking about Talon.
Yeah, Talon. Yeah.
The idea of Talon is quite the same than Phoenix. It was to take an event from Falco and react.
I see.
The idea is to create a response engine, and this is 3 or 4 months old.
Yeah. Okay. So it's supposed to be in Sidekick. I mean, we can do it later on, but
Yeah, sure,
right now
sure.
this
Just
sidecar is what we have.
the sidecar is a good idea, especially if you need to work with gRPC. If your operator or something is not aside Falco, it will be a nightmare because they are all operators, all pods have to know all Falco instances in real time and be able to connect and remove the connections. And this is why I didn't added gRPC as input for Falco Psychic right now. So the sidecar is quite a good idea.
I mean, look, you can. I mean, we can talk about this probably later with
sure,
my team, because they might have some ideas, how to put this under Sidekick as well. But yeah, I mean, we've been completely lazy, so that's that's why it's a sidecar, because we did the same for CrowdStrike, we did the same for FireEye back in those days. So and that was quite easier for us to do this here.
I think we could create an M chart which embeds Falco and your operator, just for avoiding people to use Elm plus customize. Because people are often not using the two of either Elm, either customize, but not the two at the same time. So with your version of the M chart, we could easily install Falco, your operator, as a sidecar, and this could be documented in the third parties of the website. And of course, we should have a blog post from you or another member of your team to explain what you did with Falco, your operator, and to create a response engine, basically, with Phoenix.
Like an orchestration engine, something like this, Okay, I mean, sorry, I took too much time.
No,
but
that's okay.
No, it's a great discussion. I find it very, very useful. So, where we have a point from Jason.
Yeah. So basically, I just wanted to share a little bit of the work that I worked on over the past few months. So the effort here is trying to do some renovations inside the Falco engine, more specifically the rule loader part. Many of you that use Falco are probably familiar with few issues that the YAML rule loader has. A lot of people reported like not being able to properly override macros or override lists, and there is some difficulties in doing proper string escaping, a lot of stuff. So just wanted to point out what the situation was a few months ago. We had two different language parsers inside the project. One was sitting inside libs and one was sitting inside Falco. And the reason why we had two is that the one into libs was not enough to support the whole language Falco was using. It was kind of broken. And at the same time, Falco implemented its own parser in Lua. So the Lua part was causing a little bit of difficulties. First, the code was not very readable. Second, the state management was pretty messy. And third, the whole code base became really sticky, and it was super hard to trying to find out what the issues were, how to fix a bug, and all that kind of stuff. So this contribution started by reinventing the rule language parser inside libs and making it more complete and bug-free. And after that, the effort was to making Falco use that. And the hope will be to eventually remove Lua and solve all the issues that the community did arise over the past few years. And the current state of the art is that the parser into libs got merged. Falco is using that right now already. This is not part of Falco 0.31, but it's in the master branch. And the only missing piece of the puzzle is to remove the whole Lua code. And the only part left is the rule loader itself, the part that parses the YAML file and eventually loads all the stuff. I linked those three PRs because those are the most iconic ones. once this is done and merged eventually, we will not have Lua into Falco anymore, which is a big achievement for both performance, code-based management, and memory footprint, and also dependencies, because we bring plenty of dependencies that we don't really want just because we want to support Lua. And just to be clear, Lua will still be supported in libs because we have chisels, but chisels are not really used into Falco, so the effort here is to clean up Falco as much as possible. Plus, we had different reportings lately, and this is more related to the second link I put in the agenda, about Falco 0.31 using way more memory than Falco 0.30, and that was kind of a hint about a possible memory leak or something like that. Turns out that there's no memory leak. There's just some sort of memory abuse in which we use more memory than we need to implement a feature. And that second link is trying to refactor the part of code that are responsible of this. And we basically, I was able to restore a reasonable memory footprint for Falco. So all this is part of the big refactoring of the rule engine. And I just wanted to share it with the community because all those PRs involve plenty of lines of code, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that without being transparent to what those PRs really were about. So that's pretty much the scenario right now. If anybody has any questions, or we can have a discussion either on the PR or either here. You can also contact me if you are curious about this.
When you say a formal, well, this is Fred, Jason, and this is great. I always also had similar issues when we were implementing a grammar for parsing Falco rules in sysflow. So one question that I have is, how do you implement it? I didn't check the PR yet, but did you use something like Antler, or you wrote the parser yourself directly?
So this is related to the PR in libs, the 217 you see in the first link, and I implemented the parser manually as a descent recursive parser, because the grammar is so simple that it was probably not the best approach to include heavy dependencies with an automated code generator. That's what I thought, and plus it's way easier for us to handle error messages and warnings in that way. The way we like it.
I see. We implemented a parser for Falco rules in Golang using Antler. We also have a generator for Python, and it works pretty well. And we have the grammar very, very similar to the one you define here. I'm looking right now. It's specified in Antler. So I don't know if there's any interest in looking into that, but since you already implemented, I think it's a little late then. So I was just commenting that we have it. And the nice thing about having Antler is that you can generate for different targets, right? So
yeah,
it works pretty well. Yeah, and we have a recursive as you do, so it's very efficient compared to the current rules engine that we have in Falco. That for the problems you just described.
Yeah, I totally agree. I looked into Antler, and I had the opportunity to use that in the past in university. But the issue here is that we have CMake in libs, and it was like a huge deal to trying to integrate that and make it, make it fit inside our automation. So I really felt like doing that manually was the the easiest route in this case. But I'm still curious about looking into your grammar definition if you wanted to share it, because
absolutely. I'll hit you on the Falco channel. I think I'd like to discuss this with you. Yeah, there's some interesting things too.
I feel like there are plenty of tools, either private or public, that revolve around the Falco grammar. And the more we converge all of them to one single grammar, the best it is, because that's kind of the cause of many breakings.
Right. So our interpreter for the rules engine for the Falco rules, it's compatible with an embedding of Falco types, if you will, right? The event structure, and we have an embedding for sysflow as well, right? Where the sysflow defines, flows and other attributes. And the nice thing is that the grammar is the same, right? The filter language, the syntax is the same. We try to keep up with the additions that were made to the Falco filter language. But yeah, it's again, defining it in Antler is very similar, as you know, to the grammar that you define here in the PR. The difference is that you get the parser, for free, and you have the visitor pattern, so you can implement it recursively as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked very well, like I said. Yeah, enabling those embeddings, and yeah, we can discuss probably in the Falco channel. I think it's probably more.
Yeah,
useful
yeah,
there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The end goal of all this would be to, once we have the whole Falco rule loader written in C++, it will be more easier to fix stuff. There are structurally bugged.
Yeah.
For instance, string escaping is broken, in the
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I had the same issue, and I had to do some magic.
Yeah, but there is a big issue here,
yeah.
is that you can, even if you can fix it, you really can't do it without discussing that a little bit with people, because fixing
Correct,
that
yeah.
thing will mean breaking all the rules that there are out there in the wild. So we probably should use sort of feature flag in which we enable backward compatibility with the previous escapee strategy for a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, I need to implement lookaheads to be able to cope with the Falco rule, the existing Falco rule set. So yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The point here is that we can really work on this without first re-implementing that in C++, because doing that in Lua is kind of, it's really hard. It's really hard. So
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very cool. Yeah. Thanks for getting that. Yeah. Done. Yeah.
Thank you for your response. Very appreciated.
Yeah. I'll hit you on Falco. We can discuss a little bit more now.
Thank you.
Great. Lovely discussion. So we have one more point. Gerald?
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, everybody. This is my first time here. Nice to meet everyone. As a bit of background, I'm the creator of Wireshark, and that's kind of what I mainly work on. But right now I'm working on a sister application of Wireshark called Logwolf, and Logwolf lets you analyze log messages similar to the way Wireshark lets you analyze packets. And it uses the same code base for the most part. But one of the things I'm working on right now is integrating Logwolf with Falco security libs, so that we can use Falco's plugins to bring in log message sources and use those to analyze it. So one of the issues that I ran into with linking with libsynth and libscap was that I needed to use position in code, which was what the pull request number 276 is. But one of the kind of ultimate issues that we're going to run into is that as part of the Wireshark project, when we ship Wireshark for different platforms, we usually ship our third-party libraries as shared libraries. And right now, libscap and libsynth are static libraries. And one of the comments in the pull request said that, this came up in the pull request in the discussion, and one of the comments was that maybe we should discuss that here. And so that's kind of why I'm here. My main question is our libscap and libsynth ultimately going to be shared libraries, and kind of when that might happen and how that might happen.
Okay, guys, any feedback?
So I haven't heard anything about making them shared libraries. I do think having an option, to compile them as shared is well worth it, so that you have the choice. I know we use Fred and I use the libs heavily, and we actually found that using the static has helped us in recent deployments, because we're working in places where we're getting where basically they're air gapped, getting dependencies and things like that are hard. So building everything in statically in one binary has really helped in that regard. But absolutely, I saw Gerald's PR this morning, and I think having an option to turn on and and create shared libraries, and also making that available as part of the install, I think is a great idea.
Okay.
If
All right.
I can add to that, hi Gerald. We actually do compile a fork of the libs as a shared library for our own product. So your change actually saved me some trouble of having to upstream my own changes. I don't know about just creating the shared libraries by default, but I don't really see why there would be an issue to just have a flag somewhere to just output shared libraries if you want.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be a lot of what quite a few other libraries do. They have like a CMake or a auto tools option that lets you enable the shared version of library. So that might be the way to go.
I don't think there's any maintainers from the Falco libs in the call. Or Fede, I think you're there, aren't you? Maybe not. But personally, I don't really see an issue with just having a flag. And if the flag is set to on, then compile a shared library. That should be fine.
All right, well, thanks. That I think that gives me something to work with.
I think one thing we could think about is like how we name the .a files. If I know in some cases when you have like the static version, some of the other places they do like an _s to indicate that it's the static version of the library versus the shared. So we could think about something along that line, that whether we want to have like different naming conventions for the shared versus the static.
Federico is here. I think he's the one you probably wanted.
Yeah. But I think his camera is off and he's not responding.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm here. Did I miss anything? I had a phone call, sorry.
We just woke him up.
Did I miss anything?
We were discussing the possibility of compiling the libs repo as a shared library.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Gerald.
No worries.
Okay, very good. So any other point before we close the call? No? Good. So last question is, who fancies being the next MC? Silence as usual. Well, I'll leave it open. If there isn't anyone, I can do it myself again, so I get used to it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Nice talking to you. And
Thank you, everyone.
see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.